welcome to X-Ray Vision's live Zoom workshop where I try to make this for brand new people into Hex and crypto and do a very basic and short explanation of it to get people started. And then I go over some of the updates and things that are going on in Hex and Pulse that are very exciting. And I try and answer questions to people that are just starting out their crypto journey or that are midway in their crypto journey. Or, you know, if you're an expert in Hex, I'm probably just going to ask someone smarter than me if you give me a question, but we'll try to find the answer for you. So let's kick things off. I have, let me start off with some disclaimers to anyone that's new here. First of all, Hex is a cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrencies are a fairly new investment, you know, in the scheme of things. Bitcoin's been around for around 11 or 12 years. And other than that, crypto is brand new. It's the Wild West. You can make a lot of money. You can lose a lot of money. And, you know, if a couple things happened in Hex or crypto, these investments could go to zero very quickly. One of them would be, you know, government intervention. Let's say the government doesn't like you trading in crypto anymore, and tomorrow they say, you know, they shut down all the exchanges that people use to move their money in and out of crypto. You know, that's a possibility. It's not likely, but it's a possibility. So another thing that could happen is there could be bugs found in the software, or people could hack the software, and that would bring the value of the coins crashing down. You know, so that's why it's better to have a longer time horizon. And that brings me to my next thing here, which is if you guys are planning on using this money in the next 2 years of your life for bills or for emergencies, I would not invest it in crypto. In fact, I wouldn't invest it in anything, because all investments have risks. And so if you need this money for rent, for food, for in case the transmission breaks down on your minivan, I wouldn't invest it, because then you're going to be emotionally attached and stressed out every time that the price goes up and down. So take a longer term horizon and put money into this that if you were to lose it, it wouldn't disrupt your life. The next thing that I would tell people, I would strongly urge people that when they set up their Metamask wallet and when they set up their passwords and stuff, to write all this information down by hand in a place that's hard to get to. If you just take a screenshot with your phone, those are very easy for people to get a hold of. You know, that you're likely to lose or get your stuff stolen if you just take a picture on your phone and leave it there, because, you know, you take your phone with you everywhere. And a lot of people are unaware that your phone is attaching itself to Wi-Fi networks at the McDonald's as you drive by, at the Starbucks. And it's just phones are not secure places to store stuff that could be worth millions of dollars in the future, even thousands of dollars today. So write that information down by hand, keep it in a safe place, probably keep more than one copy of it in more than one safe place, and never share your information with anybody. If someone sends you a text or an email or calls you and says, oh, hey, I'm with so-and-so, or I'm here to help you, or I'm with customer support and I need that information, don't ever share your seed words and your passwords with anybody. Anyone who asks for your seed words is most likely trying to steal your money. Like, there's a 99.9% chance they're trying to steal your money. And the last thing I want to go over is why am I doing this? What's in it for me? What am I getting out of it? No, I am not selling you crypto. I don't sell crypto. I don't make money off of the people that I send to Ethereum or Metamask or any of these things. My selfish reasons for getting this information out to people is that I want our community to grow to 1 million families. If I can reach 1 million families with my message and with the help of you guys, And, you know, in the Ripple, I mean, obviously I'm not going to personally help 1 million families. There's not enough hours in the day for me to do that in my lifetime, but there is enough time for me to reach out and help enough people that reach out and help enough people that reach out and help enough people that eventually we can reach 1 million families. And when we reach 1 million families, that's going to be good for me. That's going to be good for all of us, because the more people that buy the coin, the price is going to go up. So, you know, that's going to improve the price of the stuff that I hold and that I invest in. And more importantly than that, what we found over the last 2 years of being in this community is that we've attracted some very, very smart and talented people, people that are geniuses in their field. And once they catch the vision of helping other people and growing this community, they usually invest their time and resources in helping the community. And we'll get into some of the stuff people are doing later, but you know, there's a whole bunch of people streaming on YouTube right now, sharing this information with people. There's a lot of people helping with graphic design, with conferences and meetups, with with just anything people need in the community. There seems to be someone there that's very, very helpful. There's some people in the community that are very very knowledgeable when it comes to health and wellness, and they've been throwing their information into the community to help people with their health and wellness. There are experts on growing food and permaculture and sustainable living. There are experts on, you know, traveling and different laws and tax structures throughout the world. And all these people come to the community and bring their expertise, and the community just gets better and better. And so selfishly, I want the price to go up. Obviously, I want a lot of people to join the party and to contribute. So that's really what I get out of it at this point. Now, going forward, I'm probably going to have to make some changes where I'm going to require either a small fee that will go towards paying for the expense of running my channel and, you know, doing all the technical stuff that I don't want to do. Or I'll probably require some sweat equity. So I'll probably require people to prove that they themselves are spreading the information. So like I said, all of my information, or the information that you need to become financially free, is always going to be 100% free from me. However, when it comes to me spending more and more of my time helping the community grow, I'm going to be working with the people that are going to help teach other people and who are going to support as much growth as possible. So that's what it's in for me. Let's go into an explanation of Hex. You know, why are we here? What am I talking about? How are you going to get financially free? What is cryptocurrency? What is a blockchain? What is a node? What is a wallet? What is all these words that we speak? Let's go back. What is money? What is money? That's a good question. And surprisingly, a lot of people don't know what money is. They think they do because they use it, they earn it, they spend it. But very few people I've talked to know what money is. All that money is an agreement between two or more people. If you and I agree that an object or an idea or a song or anything has value, then that object can become money, right? So right now, the most widely used form of money are Federal Reserve notes. And the reason that Federal Reserve notes are valuable are because everyone agrees that they're valuable, and they're backed by, you know, the United States government. They require you to pay your taxes in them, and they use their political power across the world and their military to back up that US Federal Reserve note. So that's what I would say, first of all, is what is money? Money is whatever people think has value or agree has value. Going into that, what is crypto? Crypto is just digital money, and digital money is nothing new. Everyone that uses a bank uses digital money and a certain form of cryptocurrency. all of the money that you use at your local bank is protected by cryptography, or computer security. And so it's a cryptocurrency. The difference between the cryptocurrencies that we talk about and the cryptocurrencies that you're already using is who's in charge of them, who controls them. Right now, the banks and the federal government, they control all the cryptocurrency that's in your banks, and that's denoted in US dollars. So all the US dollars, that cryptocurrency is controlled by the banks and the government. The difference between that and other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Hex is that we have control to some extent on what's on those. Excuse me, bless me. So that's the main difference. And all that a crypto is a money that when you go to the bank, your money is accounted for and kept track of on a ledger, on an Excel spreadsheet. So every bank in the world, every government has Excel spreadsheets where they keep track of where the money is, what it's been, and where it's going. And Bitcoin came out with its own Excel spreadsheet of where money was. And instead of a central authority controlling or managing that spreadsheet, they turned it over to a computer program. So the computer program secured that network, not even really well, just enough that people continued to speculate on its value, right? So people believed that Bitcoin would be worth something, and they put their money into it. And that's how we get Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is just a spreadsheet that keeps track of where everyone's Bitcoins are. And the only two real things people use Bitcoin for is sending Bitcoin to someone else, or earning Bitcoin by supporting that computer network that secures Bitcoin. So you have Bitcoin. And then a couple of years ago, a man named Richard Hart launched a new token, or a new cryptocurrency, called Hex. And the difference between Hex, and the main differences between Hex and Bitcoin, are that Bitcoin pays the miners to secure the network, and Hex pays people who have promised not to sell Hex for a certain amount of time. So basically, Hex pays people to lock it up, and Bitcoin pays people to mine it or use their computer energy to secure the network and to keep track and update the spreadsheet of where all the Bitcoin are. That's the main difference between Hex and Bitcoin. So a couple of years ago, a lot of people, myself included, we figured out what Hex did. We started practicing and playing around with it, and we were rewarded really handsomely, not only in price appreciation, but also in interest. And so the interest is a compounding interest. It's not a simple interest. So the longer you lock up your coins for, the more interest you get paid. That's basically how it works. It's just a CD. Like, people went and did savings bonds and CDs where you gave the bank $100, and you waited 10 years and you came back and it was $150, or whatever they were paying back then, and whatever they pay now. I think right now they pay like 0.5% if you lock up quite a bit of money for like 10 years on most CDs that the banks offer these days. So that's what Hex is. And then going into the other products that we're really, really excited about are the different networks. So Bitcoin runs on its own network, the Bitcoin network, or the Bitcoin blockchain. And Hex, when it came out 2 years ago, and even today, up till today, runs on the Ethereum network. And so when we want to keep track of where all the Hex are, and when we want to keep track of how much Hex we've locked up for how long, and keep track of the interest, we use the Ethereum network to keep track of that spreadsheet and what's going on there. And when we started using the Ethereum network a couple of years ago, the fees that we were paying to lock and unlock Hex and move it back and forth were pennies. They're very, very cheap, very, very affordable. And so you could lock up $50, $100 and play around with it. But as time went on, the network got busier, and it's been busy before, and the fees have gone up and down before. However, this time when the fees went up, they did some upgrades, which meant that they charged more for certain functions or certain recordings on the spreadsheet than others. So if something was easy to record, it would cost less ETH. And if something was more complicated and required more adding, subtracting, calculating, then it would cost more. And this last year, a lot of people have been paying up to $1,000 or $2,000 to unlock their Hex and to print their interest and pull their money back out. And of course, you know, that's great if you have a few $1,000,000 sitting around. If you have a few $1,000,000 and you're paying $1,000 a transaction, that's not that big of a fee. But if you're only locking 50 or $100 and getting 1 or 2,000 out, well, that wipes out all of your profits. And so it just became infeasible for us to continue to use the Ethereum network. It was keeping a lot of money from coming into the space, and it was really costing so much to use Hex that, you know, a lot of people were turned away, or it just didn't make sense for them. And so the same founder that founded Hex, Richard Hart, realized the need for another network that was cheaper and faster, so we could continue to lock and unlock our Hex and make money. And so he's been coding and getting ready to launch another network called the Pulsechain network. And the Pulsechain has its own coin called the Pulse token. And so that's the other coin that we're very excited about, because when the Pulse network comes out, it's going to have a copy of all of your coins over on the Ethereum network that we started out on. So when Pulsechain launches, all of your Hex on the Ethereum network and all your locked and unlocked Hex will be copied over, and you'll have a duplicate on the Pulsechain network. So we're very, very excited about getting our coins doubled for free. But more than that, we're excited about the fees going back down, so that your friend, your cousin, your neighbor, your coworker that only really has $50 to start out with, they can actually afford to go in and lock up that money and see it work for them while they, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week while they sleep, which is really, really powerful if, in finances, when you're trying to become financially free. So Hex, Pulsechain, we were really hoping that Pulsechain would have launched a couple months ago. And people right now are estimating that the Pulsechain network will be coming out either in March or June. That's the best guesses that we have from the community right now. So in the meantime, there is another coin that people are sacrificing money for called the PulseX coin. So the Pulse coin is for the Pulse network, and the PulseX coin is for an exchange that is going to be built on top of the network when it launches. And these exchanges in crypto make an awful lot of money, because if you want to trade a Hex token for an Ethereum token, or a Hex token for a dollar token that's called a stable coin, they have these coins that are stuck to the US dollar that if you're hoping are always going to be worth $1. So if you want to trade a dollar coin for Hex coins, or if you want to trade a dollar coin for Ethereum, or any of the above, you're going to have to go to an exchange. And right now, the biggest exchange we've been using is called Uniswap, and you pay your fees in the coins that you're changing, and you're paying the fees in Ethereum. So when Pulsechain launches, when that network starts up, we're going to be using the PulseX exchange to trade one coin for another. And so right now, if you go back to a couple of Zooms ago, I have a tutorial on setting up a wallet and sacrificing to get points for that network, and the points will be turned into coins. That's the idea. And so you can go back and watch that the previous videos on how to sacrifice, how to set up a wallet, how to get your money in there, hopefully through an exchange like Coinbase right now, and go in there. So up to this point, with my disclaimers and my short explanation of what cryptocurrency is and what Hex is and what Pulse is, does anyone have any questions over anything that I've covered so far? I want to take any questions here. Let me pull up the chat. I don't see any in chat, and I'm not getting any questions so far on everything I've covered so far. So that's what brings us, and that's, almost all of my YouTube videos are going to come through and have this explanation for someone that's brand new. There's a lot to learn when it comes to cryptocurrency, and there's a lot of words to understand and a lot of concepts that can overwhelm people. It's got quite a learning curve. However, in my experience of studying crypto and in particular Hex, learning more about Hex and how it works, it's worth the investment of time and frustration and patience that it takes, because it is going to take you quite a while. You're going to be watching a lot of YouTube. You're going to be asking a lot of questions, in person or online, to people that understand this stuff. But it is worth it, in my opinion, to go ahead and understand all this stuff. Let me go over a couple of updates and announcements that have been going on since my last Zoom. I did get to do some traveling with my family and had a good time over the holidays. So there's some times when I wasn't around to do the Zoom conference. So I appreciate all of you guys joining me today to get caught up on this good stuff. So the first thing I want to cover is Dharma is shutting down. So Dharma is one of the exchanges where people were trading their US dollars for cryptocurrency so that they could, get into Hex and lock it up and make money. And Dharma.io was on people's phones. However, it was one of the only places that you could put in a debit or a credit card and buy Hex directly without having to buy another coin first and switching it over to Hex. But OpenSeas is another exchange of NFTs or non-fungible tokens, and they have bought Dharma and they're going to shut it down. So if you have any money right now still sitting on Dharma, or any Hex coins or Ethereum coins sitting on Dharma, they're going to be closed in like 22 days. So if you have any money on Dharma, on the Dharma exchange, you're going to want to get it out before it closes. Once it closes, as far as I understand, your money's just gone. So that's an announcement about Dharma.io, which is one of the exchanges that we used to recommend or talk about using. The other announcement I want to give is that we talked about, if you go to my YouTube channel and you look at the tech talks, the last tech talk we had was about a coin called Ethereum, Hedron. So the coin Hedron is going to be given freely to all of the people that have Hex locked up. So for every day that you have a certain number of shares, and shares are something that you get when you lock up Hex. So you lock up Hex, it gives you shares, and the shares determine how much interest you're paid every day, or how much interest is added to your lockups every day. And it was going to have a claim phase starting on January 31st. But now that claim phase has been pushed back to February 27th. Apparently they didn't want to get, I think they're waiting until the PulseX sacrifice phase is over on February 27th before they do their claim phase. And so in order to claim this free coin, you're going to have to go and sign or prove that you have access to locked up hex. And that's something that we'll go about in the future. But basically, you're going to pay a fee in Ethereum. You're going to go through a process with your wallet, which is where you hold your, excuse me. A wallet is an application on your phone or your laptop where all of your tokens are held. So what you'll do is you go into your Metamask wallet, which is the app that most people use on their laptop or desktop, and you would prove that you have access or that you control that and sign something that they recognize, and then that would print you the free coins. But like I said, that's not going to happen until the end of February. So we have about 6 weeks to worry about the ins and outs and doing a tutorial about that. But when that comes due, I will either make a tutorial that's hopefully easy to follow so you can claim those free coins that you get, or chances are someone much better than me will do a really good tutorial and I'll share that link with you guys. So either way, we'll be going over that at the end of February. So that's the Hedron coin. And that's all I'm not going to get into that any further than this unless we have some more questions later about it. And then also, if you guys want to actually meet a bunch of crazy hexicans in person, there's going to be a workshop in Vegas, March 4th and 5th. And then there's going to be a conference of a bunch of crazy hexicans in Vegas, March 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And I think those tickets are either $369 plus the Eventbrite fee, which is like $20 or $30. So you're looking at about $400 to $600 for a 3-day ticket down there in Vegas in March. It's going to be pretty crazy in March because that same week or weekend is going to be, there's going to be a lot of big conventions and sports events going on that same weekend in Vegas. So if you are planning on going down to the March stuff in Vegas, you're going to want to book your room now and get your accommodations before things go crazy, because if you wait till the last minute in March, it's going to be very expensive, I think, to find lodging in Vegas. But that's going to take place at the Excalibur Hotel, March 6th to the 9th. So there's going to be a party and a workshop in Vegas on the 4th and 5th, put on by Freedom TV. And then the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, there's going to be a conference that's hosted by Maddie Allen. And I'm actually going to type that here in the Maddie Allen. So if you search Maddie Allen conference or his website here, maybe I can actually find that right here for us. Let me pull that up here. I'll actually put a link to his website if you guys want to buy tickets there. There we go. He has a Medium page where you can click and buy the tickets here. So if you go to maddieallen.medium.com, which I'm putting in the chat right now, that is a place where you would be able to buy tickets to that conference. And that conference, we were really hoping that Pulse would be launched by March and that we would have a lot more information on it to share down there. But right now, it looks like it might launch during the conference if we're lucky, but it might not, which is why there's another conference I'm going to be talking about here that's Pulse related. So like I said, you've got You got the workshop on the 4th and the 5th, which are the German and the Austrian Crypto Sparbuch. They did a tour around the US this year, and that's the last stop of their tour is in Las Vegas on the 4th and the 5th. So you can get information on that from Freedom. And I'm going to add this link too to chat in case you guys want that one. So Freedom TV, freedomtv.info. They're the ones running that tour, and they're also the ones that are going to be running PulseCon in September. So let me copy and paste this in the chat. Paste. Okay. So that right there, freedomtv.info. They're going to be doing the workshop on the 4th and the 5th. And they're going to be doing the conference in September, which I'll talk about in a bit. And then there's going to be a bizarre party. It's crazy. It's going to be a crazy party. If you're not into crazy people, you might not want. But there's a party that I think is pretty interesting. That's going to take place after the conference on March 10th. So on March 10th, at the end of the conference, I wonder if I can find this. Party. I know I saw the link on this. I saw this link on Twitter. If you guys are part of Twitter, Twitter is an amazing place to keep up with Hex information, but it's not a very good platform for civil discourse and normal people. It's kind of a dumpster fire when it comes to social media. But let's see here, Nagabo. Hex Party Vegas. I know he's got a website somewhere. Anyways, this is going to be taking place on March 10th. Las Vegas 2022. Let's see. Oh boy. So it's a Hexagon mansion party, and I guess he's got it on Eventbrite too, which Eventbrite is a horrible place to buy tickets and stuff. Like it really is. They have crazy fees, and if it's hard to return people's money and stuff. I don't know. So anyways, it's $100 to go to this mansion party. I'm not going to say anything goes because it's probably not going to be that crazy, but it's definitely going to be an adult themed party on the 10th down there. But that's also going to be the launch of the that's going to be like the launch of the PulseCon in September. So that's that right there underneath the Freedom TV link, the eventbrite.com Hexagon Mansion Party. That's going to be taking place on September 10th. So that's all the craziness that's coming up in March. And I would highly recommend if you can go to the workshop, and if you can go to the conference, you're going to run into hexagons in real life. And once you understand who the hexagons are in person, and you realize how excited, like the energy and excitement is palpable. They're crazy about Hex. And not only are they crazy about Hex, but you'll meet a level of people. Most of the people there are very kind, they're very intelligent, and they're very motivated. And so you'll kind of get a sense of where I think that the Hex conference is going to go, or the Hex coin and the Hex project or product are going to go in the future, which is you'll probably be a lot more enthusiastic about Hex once you go to an in-person event and meet other hexagons. So that's what's going on there. Let me talk really quickly about the PulseX sacrifice. So right now, if you had $1,000 and you came up to me and said, should I buy Hex with $1,000 right now? I would actually say no for a few weeks, and this is why. There is a, let me see if I can pull up another one here. Let's see if I can pull up another window for you guys and share it here. There we go. Okay, and we'll go to Pulsechain or PulseX, sorry, pulsex.info. All right. Just kidding. I mean, you do want to go to pulsex.info because that tells you where to sacrifice if you want to do that. But let's do pulsex.com. Okay, so here is pulsex.com, and I'll explain to you why I would tell you for the next while why I would not buy Hex for the next couple weeks. I mean, unless Hex goes down to like 10 cents or something like that. And then, yeah, by all means, definitely, you know, buy Hex if it goes down that low. But right now, Hex has been bouncing around 17 to 20 cents. And so let me go there. Here we go. Okay, so this is the PulseX screen right here. And PulseX, this is actually the address right here that you would send the money to. So you would get the money into a Metamask wallet, or a wallet where you have the private keys and you truly own the crypto. If you were to send your money from Coinbase or an exchange to this address, then you wouldn't get credit for the sacrifice. The exchange would get credit for the sacrifice. And you want credit for the sacrifice, obviously. So you get your money into a MetaMask, and you can go back to my last Zoom where I do a better tutorial of this, or how to walk through, but you would basically copy this address and send money here if you wanted to participate. But the reason, and as you can see, people have already sacrificed well over $1 billion. This is just the stuff on this list that has been sacrificed for PulseX, but there's a few coins not listed, and like I said, it's well over $1 billion that people have already sacrificed to get these points, to get the coins when they come out, and to make a political statement that they believe in the right of freedom of movement and the freedom of assembly. But this is the reason why right here I was telling you guys earlier. If I were going to put money in all the way out to maybe $4 or $5, I think that spending $4 on 10,000 points would be a good investment of your money up to this point right here. So every single day, the price goes up 5%. So for the first, 10 days, you could get 10,000 points for $1. And then it went up 5% every day from January 10th to February 27th, I believe, or yeah, about then, around the 25th, 27th, the price is going to increase for those 10,000 points. And so even up around in this area right here, I think that 10,000 PulseX points are going to be worth more in the short run and the next 2 years than buying Hex at 20 cents today. Now, once it goes up past, you can see how steep this bad boy gets. I mean, geez Louise, it gets to like $9.95 or something like that. Let me move this. I got my chat box in the way. So yeah, so as you see, it goes to, basically you're going to pay $10 for 10,000 points at the end when you could have got them for just $1. So the rate is going to increase about 10 times right here. And so for the next while, well, it's like $3, $4, $5. I think it's a better deal to buy Pulse right now. And then once it goes back up, the price of Hex will most likely also go back up once all this pressure, because I mean, people are buying and selling Hex to sacrifice it. And a lot of people that got into the sacrifice early, these guys right here that sacrificed all this money, they don't want the price of Hex to go up, because then you would get more credit, because you're given credit for the dollar amount of coin that you sacrifice, not the number of coins that you sacrifice. So if people sacrifice Hex and it's only worth 20 or 17 cents right now, that kind of gives them an advantage to get more points and to get more Pulsechain coins. Where once that advantage is no longer a big deal, where they're going to be sacrificed 10, I think you'll see a lot more people buying, and you'll see the price of Hex go up quite a bit at the end of February and beginning of March. So this is PulseX right now. I just wanted to cover that and say that I would recommend for the next few days, whatever day it is, to get up here to like, I wish they had a grid where I could click and it would tell you the day down here. But basically the next couple of weeks here, it's going to be going up here $3, $4, $5 for 10,000 points. And I think this is a good deal right here. Even with the crappy Ethereum fees, you're still going to get enough points and coins that if you sit on them for 2 to 5 years, I would recommend sitting on them for 5 years personally. You're going to end up with I think in my opinion, you get a lot of bang for your buck, just like we did 2 years ago when we were buying Hex for fractions of a penny. So there's that. Let me see if I can stop sharing the screen, and there's my beautiful face again. Now, that brings me to another reason that the price of Hex could get a nice bump in February. So I'm not a NASCAR fan. I've never watched the races, but the Hex community is going to be sponsoring a NASCAR coming up in February. So the week in February here, right around that same time, around the 20th of February, and I guess the preliminary or the qualifying races that they have in NASCAR are going to be happening, around that week, or about 10 days, going like, I think they start around February 10th or so. If there are any NASCAR fans in the Zoom meeting, please let me know if I'm wrong. I guess I could, well, I'm kind of late. I have the internet at my fingertips, and all I have to do is type in NASCAR races. But going back to the Hex Car, Hexicans donated $600,000 in 5 days to get. See, like, here's the race details. So there's the cup. There's a clash at Daytona. Jiminy Christmas. Clash at Daytona is on February 6th, and then Duel 1 at Daytona is February 17th. And then you have the Blue Green Vacations Duel on February 17th, and the Daytona 500 is happening February 20th. So if our driver gets through the elimination races, because from what I understand, there's 40 cars, and then they race, and the top 20 go into the Daytona 500. So, like I said, Hexicans gathered over $500,000 to sponsor a team. So there's going to be a Hex race car with a Hex driver. I believe the driver's name is JJ Yaley. Yeely, and it's like Yeeley. There's a bunch of, if you type in Hex NASCAR on YouTube, you're going to find a bunch of Hexcons talking about this and talking to the people putting it together. But that's really exciting that we could get a lot of marketing and notoriety for Hex there in NASCAR, because there's a lot of loyal fans, and there's an incredible amount of money in NASCAR, just crazy millionaires and billionaires that love NASCAR and race cars. So that's another reason that I think that we could see a nice bump there. Let's see, what else do I got here? Pulse launch. Yeah, so like I said, there's several things that Richard Hart has mentioned that need to be done before the launch of the Pulsechain network. And one of those is just writing down all these coins. So all the points that people are getting for sacrificing for Pulse and PulseX, they all need to be accounted for and figured out. Then they need to run the software for a bot or a computer program that's going to go and fix the ratios between the coins, because right now you have the Ethereum exchange where the Ethereum coins are trading for all the other coins on Uniswap, and one Ethereum is going to be worth thousands or millions of Pulse, because Pulse will just be fractions of a penny when it comes out, right? And right now Ethereum's like $3,000, $4,000. So there needs to be a way for them to fix those ratios. So they're writing a program to fix those ratios. So when they have an exchange on Pulsechain, the PulseX exchange, it'll have the correct ratios for the trading that we have over on the Ethereum network when it gets copied over. So that needs to be done. All the points need to be done. And and they've also got to write down a DAO, which is a decentralized autonomous organization. Basically, a DAO is a way for people to vote on how this exchange is ran and how people get rewarded for participating in the exchange. So, for instance, when people exchange the coins, the way that they're able to exchange these coins is someone provides these coins on the market to be traded. So I could take $1,000 coins and I could take 1,000 Hex coins and I could put them on the market. And it's called providing liquidity, because you're providing coins for this exchange to happen. And so people will be rewarded in fees for putting this money on the exchange. It's just another way that you can make money passively in crypto. But people are going to vote on which coins they want to see on there the most, which coins get rewarded the highest fees. And so they're going to build a governance or a DAO and voting process to go on there. So those are the things that need to be done before Pulsechain launches. And that's why we're crossing our fingers for March. But it could be June. Oh, I hope it's not later than June. I'm really hoping we get it by June at the latest. But that's the Pulsechain update. And then let's see here. PulseCon, boom, yeah. So that's the other thing I wanted to cover was PulseCon in September. So in September, I don't know if I can pull this off, but I'm gonna try. No, I'm not. I was gonna try playing the PulseCon teaser here, but instead I'm just gonna go to YouTube and I'm gonna find the link that you guys can just click on and watch. So yeah, PulseCon, YouTube, Hasbro. No, we don't want that. We don't want the Hasbro PulseCon 2020. We want Freedom TV's. So, and you can also see this on Freedom TV's website. You can learn a lot about the the party in March and the workshop in March. And then you can learn a lot about PulseCon here. So September 6th through the 9th, there's going to be, let me actually click on this and see if I can. Yeah, so here's a link. If you just go on freedomtv.info, you can actually click on PulseCon 2020, and that'll give you like the teaser, and that's going to be held at the World Resort in Vegas. And they're going to be selling tickets beginning February 1st. So in just a few days, you can buy a ticket to that, and they're going to have different packages based on what you want to do. You know, you might want to just go to the meetings, or you might want to go to the meetings and go to the nightclub, or you might want to just get a nice room and go to the meeting. So they're going to have different packages based on what you want to do there in PulseCon. So September 6th through the 9th is going to be PulseCon, and I'm really excited about that because hopefully by September, the Pulsechain network will have launched, and all of the old projects and tokens from Ethereum will be running on Pulsechain network. So they're going to go from one network to the other when they're copied, and we're going to see which coins and projects do well that are copied over. Because right now, a lot of projects and a lot of coins are suffering because of those high ETH fees that we covered before. So we'll have a chance to see the older coins and see if they're, if they pass muster on the new network. But there's also 40 new projects and coins that have said that they're going to launch and build brand new projects on the Pulsechain network. So if they launch in, knock on wood, fingers crossed, March and June, we'll have several months to see which projects were, just money grabs and scams or had bad code running on there, and we'll see which projects actually deliver on their promises. Hopefully by then we'll have a little bit of history, a little bit of experience. So I'm really excited about the conference there in September. So that's, and then the last thing I wanted to cover is, as I mentioned before, right now I'm just doing all of this for free. I share everything on YouTube for free. I meet with people at the library for free. If I have time, I walk people through setting up their wallets and stuff for free. And that's the way I wanted it to stay. Unfortunately, I can't keep up with all the people that want to meet with me and all my time, and then also have some time for the family on the side, because that's the whole point of being financially free, is you get to spend time improving your relationships with family and friends. And I kind of went head first and spent a lot of time doing Hex stuff, and I love it and I plan on doing it, but I need to get some balance in my life. So the people I want to work with going forward are people that share the same vision that I do, not only understanding this and implementing this information, but also paying it forward and teaching new people how to learn this new technology, because it's difficult. So going forward, I'm probably going to set up a group where for a certain low fee every year, you have access to all of my information and more of my time. Or if you're willing to volunteer and help the channel, help the information, and help promote and spread these ideas to more people, then that's just as good as that's better than money to me. I'd rather, because that's what my goal is. My goal is to reach as many people as possible. So I will have a way that you can either pay a fee every year, or you can just participate and help me spread this information forward. And either way, I'll be making more and more time to help those people. And I'll still do the free Zooms. I'll still have a lot of free information on on YouTube, but some of my information on YouTube, like my tech talks, they're over the head of a lot of people unless you already understand a lot of this language. So the stuff that I'm doing to reach out to brand new people, I'm going to try to maximize my time and make it as efficient as possible in moving forward and reaching as many families as I can, because like I said, my goal is 1 million families that have this information and understand how these cryptocurrencies and these technologies can take you from being in a bad place financially, and in as little as 5 years later, they're going to have financial freedom. They're going to have more money coming in than they can spend. And, you know, that changes people's lives and really, really enhances what they got going on. And it helps them pursue the things that they're good at in life. It makes the world a better place when you don't have to worry about money and when more people are helping each other out. So that being said, those are all of my updates and announcements and things that I wanted to bring to the community. Again, this is going to be shared, and the replay is going to be shared on YouTube. So if someone you know couldn't make it here, or you want to share this information with anyone you know, you can point them to my YouTube channel, Hex Ray Vision, and this replay will be put up there. Other than that, who's got any questions about anything? I feel like I've just been rambling for a long time. You guys have questions about Pulsechain, sacrifice, Hex, how to turn on your computer, anything like that? You can unmute your mic and speak, or you can type in a question in the chat, and I'll answer it to the best of my ability. All right, so we have a question. Why do you think that $4 sacrifice Hex break even? So Hex has been out for 2 years, and it went from thousandths of a penny to 50 cents. Went to up to 54 cents on some charts. And I definitely believe that Hex has a long, long way to run. I think it's an amazing investment, especially when you lock it up and earn compound interest on it, for sure. However, there was a time when you could get tens of thousands of Hex for $1. It was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, you could put in $1 and get 1,000, 10,000 Hex. But right now, you're only getting 4 or 5 Hex for $1. So the better deal right now is sacrificing $4 for 10,000 PulseX, especially in the short term, because it hasn't even launched yet. And in the future, if PulseX goes to, let's say, a penny or 10 cents or 20 cents, like Hex did, well, there you go. At that point, you'll be like, man, I wish I would have bought PulseX when it was 10,000 for $1 or 10,000 for $4. So right now, PulseX's price is such a good deal. It's on sale more than Hex. I think you're great buying neither of them, even with the crappy Ethereum fees. You're buying Hex or PulseX today, or sacrificing for PulseX today. I think in the next 5 years, you're going to be insanely, like really ridiculously happy that you did either of those two things. But in my opinion, today, PulseX is a better deal, especially going up to like $4 or $5, because it's in the future, you may not be able to buy the coins at that price. Just like I don't think you'll ever be able to buy Hex on either network for a penny again, let alone tens of thousands for a penny. So it says, why should PulseX have the same ROI that Hex did? They're really quite different products, But one of the reasons that a lot of people are excited about PulseX is that PulseX is going to be used in the exchange, right? So when you pay your fees exchanging one coin for another, and you use the PulseX coin, a portion of the PulseX coin is going to be burnt or destroyed. So Hex inflates and grows at a maximum of 3.69% a year. So the entire pool of Hex is growing and inflating. Now, the good news is that there's a bigger demand for Hex than its inflation. So that's what's pulling the price up. And the other thing that's good about Hex is that it's paid to the people that lock it up. So that keeps a lot of the supply off the market, keeps the positive buy pressure, and pushes the price of Hex up. So that's how Hex works. With PulseX, there's only going to be a certain number of coins in its beginning or its existence, and that amount of coins is going to go down over time, and it's going to be rewarded, and it uses an incentive for people to participate in the exchange, in the PulseX exchange. So because you're getting 10,000 for a penny, I mean, well, actually, sorry, you're getting 10. Let me go back. At the beginning of the sacrifice phase, you were getting 10,000 points for $1, or we'll call them 10,000 coins for $1. That means you're getting 100 coins for a penny just a few weeks ago. So let's say you're getting 100 coins for 4 pennies if it goes to $4, right? I just don't think you're ever going to see that price again for the coin. I mean, once it launches, if a lot of people make a ton of money and dump, let's say for instance, I got 100 coins for a penny, and then the price goes up significantly, and I can sell 50 coins for a penny. Well, then I just doubled my money. And I think that a lot of people that's going to be too good of a profit for them to resist taking. So let's say they dump a bunch of their coins, or half of their coins that they got during the sacrifice phase, and the price dips again. Let's say the price does come back down to 100 for a penny. Well, eventually these coins find a bottom. They find a belly. For instance, like Hex. Richard Hart warned us not to go in on the first day of Hex because he knew there'd be so much pent up excitement and eagerness to get this coin that people were going to pay too much money for this coin, right? So, and when on day one, a lot of Hexicans, myself included, we tried buying Hex the very first day, and he said, don't even buy the first day. And the first day, Hex was like a 3/10 of a penny or a half of a penny, because people threw so much money into Hex the first day to start buying Hex. So after the excitement died down, people could buy Hex for as little as 0.00002, or 2 thousandths of a penny, I believe is what it was at the bottom. So 4 zeros and a 2. So that would be 10th of a penny, 100th of a penny, 1,000th of a penny. Yeah. So basically you get that. So it did dip, but once it found that bottom and climbed up to a penny or 2, which it did in the first year, at that point it just started jumping, 3 cents, 8 cents, 10 cents, 22 cents, 50 cents, back down to 22 cents. So a lot of these coins, like I said, are going to find a bottom. I think that PulseX and Pulse will both find a bottom and climb up from there. I don't know what that bottom is going to be, and I don't know how long it's going to stay at that bottom, but I do know that if you do this sacrifice, you're probably going to get closer to the bottom than we did with Hex, because with Hex there was no pre-sale or sacrifice for Hex. There was just an auction the first year, that brought it in, that issued it into existence. So we just kind of had to like figure it out, and we either got a good deal or a bad deal, which, that's the whole point of dollar cost averaging. A lot of people use dollar cost averaging in stocks and investments, because then you get an average price over time. So for instance, let's say you can afford $50 a month to invest. So every month you would invest $50 no matter what the price is. And so as the price does this, you're buying $50 and averaging out and getting a good average price on everything. And so even when Pulse and PulseX launch and are available on the market to buy, you're still better off buying the same amount every week or every month to get an average price during the beginning phase, when it's doing that belly and when it drops and finds its floor. And then as it rises, you still probably want to buy some depending on how much you want. But I mean, that's just how I would say. Does that answer your question of why I think that $4 sacrifice and Hex break even is because, you know what, actually, let me answer it this way. So Hex, people that have been in Hex for the last 2 years know when it's on sale. They know what a good price is for Hex, right? So right now we know that Hex has gone to 50 cents. In my humble opinion, Hex is worth $1 right now. And that's because you're going to get a free copy and its high price was 50 cents. So if both coins go back up to the all-time high of 50 cents, that equals $1. Two coins, 50 cents each, equal $1. So that's how I evaluate Hex today, is that Hex is worth $1. So if you're buying it today at 17, 18 cents, I think you're getting a really good deal. But you're not going to get a good as deal on Hex as you are on Pulsechain, in my humble opinion. So like I said, if Hex dropped down to like 10 cents today, I would say, wow, I would say it would be even. So if you had $1,000 right now that you were going to invest, I might suggest putting half in PulseX and half in Hex at 10 cents. But seeing as how Hex is 20 cents, which isn't, a screaming deal, it's still a great deal. But I think that PulseX is going to be a screaming deal up to like $4 or $5, like we had there on the chart, as it goes up to 10. Now, the crazy thing about Pulse, the Pulse sacrifice, not PulseX, but Pulse, is somebody I read on Twitter, somebody just sacrificed like 220 Ethereum for Pulse. So on the first few days of Pulse, you could get 10,000 points for $1, just like we are now. Plus you get a bonus based on, you compete with other people to see who can sacrifice the most money. And the person that sacrifices the most money gets a 2.25x bonus, or they get 1.5 times extra their original money. And then the last person gets 1.75% X bonus. So the guy at the top gets 2.5 bonus. The guy at the bottom gets 1 3/4 bonus. So depending on how much money people sacrifice, they rank somewhere between the two. So the biggest guy gets 2.5, the lowest guy gets 1 3/4, and everyone in the middle gets some variation of wherever they fall, right? So back in the day, in August and September, people sacrificed for Pulse, and they got 10,000 points for $1 plus bonus. The guy that sacrificed just yesterday paid $1.10 per Pulse coin. So that's just insane. Apparently they want the Pulse bad enough that they're willing to buy it at $1.10 a coin, which who knows how long it would take Pulse to go up to $1.10 and for that guy to break even. It could take him a couple of years. Who knows? But the fact is that if he had acted in August, not even that long ago, I mean, let's see, it's almost February. So like less than 6 months ago, like 4 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, he could have got an insanely better deal than he did. Does that make sense? So that's why I think that once the price of PulseX goes up high enough, like towards the end of the sacrifice, where you're paying 10,000, you're paying $10 roughly for 10,000 points. At that moment, that's not the greatest deal on Pulse. I think it's PulseX. I think it's still a great deal on PulseX, but it's not nearly as good as what you're gonna half the price right now. $3, $4, or $5. So you just kind of compare what things used to cost to what they cost today, and you can tell what's on sale. And in my opinion, right now, PulseX is the best thing on sale at the store, so to speak. And when that changes, I'll just keep updating it and telling people what I think is the best deal, because you're going to have Hex on Ethereum, you're going to have Hex on Pulse, you're going to have the Pulse coin, you're going to have the PulseX coin, and then you're going to have the DAO token, or the one that they're working on right now, which doesn't necessarily have a market value yet, but it probably will. And then you have Hedron, which is the free coin that you get for staking Hex. So you've got imagine walking into a store and they have 6 items, and you know how much a loaf of bread normally costs, you know how much a steak normally costs, you know how much a gallon of gas normally costs. And you walk in and you're like, you're going to notice what's on sale out of those 6 items. And so as you dollar cost average in, or take $50 or $100 or $1,000 a month or week, and you're investing every so often, you're going to look at those 6 items in the future, and you're going to say, okay, well, what's taking a dive right now? What's crashed? I mean, like I said, Hex went from 50 cents down to 18 cents right now. That's pretty good. I mean, it might go down to 0, but if it continues to climb up like it has been, then yeah, like 17 cents all the way back up to 50 cents. I mean, people on hedge funds and stock market traders would kill for a return like that, especially if it happens in a matter of months or weeks, months or weeks. So I don't know. Is that do you have a follow-up question, PB? Okay, cool. Anyone else have a question they want to unmute their mics or tap into the chat? That was a really long answer to a really short question.
Hey, Max, thank you so much.
Oh, you bet, Lynn.
Yeah. One thing that I think we really need to emphasize is that all these projects that we are part of are DeFi. That's not tied to a central exchange. And I think that's really important to get how valuable that is, and how we're free from potential losses dealing with a centralized exchange.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That is a good point to make, Lynn. There are places in crypto where you trust a third party to hold your money and pay you an interest on that money. And in Hex, you're trusting the contract to do its job, or the code that's written in the computer. You're not trusting a human being to, fulfill their promise. And up to now, 2 years into Hex, the code and the computer program have fulfilled their promises flawlessly. And so it gives us a lot more it gives us a lot more confidence. I would rather trust a computer and some math than I would trust a human being, especially when it comes to large sums of money. So I appreciate that, Lynn, a lot. Like DeFi stands for decentralized finance. So, for instance, if you got $2,000 in your checking account at the bank, and tomorrow, for whatever reason, the bank decides to freeze that account, there's really not much you can do, and you don't even have to be doing something shady, like get caught in illegal activity or something to that effect. You could simply have the same name or the same initials as someone else that is doing fraudulent or criminal activity that the government doesn't like, and you can end up getting your account frozen. You don't even have to really be guilty of doing all these things. So yeah. All right, here we go. And shout out to Kenny. Thank you, Kenny. I feel like a lot of times I'm just droning on, and so I'm glad you guys are getting something out of this. Shout out to Brett. Brett's joining us, connecting. In the meantime, Ryan, Kenny, Peter, do you guys got any other questions here that I can answer?
I don't think so. I think you've covered pretty much everything I was wondering about. Just waiting for the end of February.
Yeah, me too. I'm definitely looking forward to even the middle of February. I think when we start to see that PulseX sacrifice climb and people aren't competing so hard for the PulseX points, I think we're going to see a bump. Another interesting thing, there's someone named Crypto7 on YouTube, and they had a really good video where they think that we're going to be back up to all-time highs sooner than people think. Richard Hart is kind of a sneaky dude. He won't come right out and tell you what he thinks is going to happen. He sometimes leaves little Easter eggs and hints and little winks, like, hey, you really might want to check this out, wink. And the people of us, those of us that have followed his winks and his suggestions have been very, very happy. We came into some $2,000 airdrops from Uniswap coins. We've been on the right side of a lot of big changes by listening to his little winks. And one of the winks that Crypto7 brought up in his YouTube recently was that Richard mentioned more than once recently on one of his videos that Hex has never gone 6 months without making another all-time high. And it's been almost 6 months since that last all-time high of 50 cents. So if you read between the lines, or if he's giving us a little wink and nudge, we could very easily see prices back up to 50 cents in the next 6 to 8 weeks. I think it was 6 to 8 weeks that since we hit 54 cents. So there's all these little things that you really have to listen carefully to. And there's all sorts of little nuggets of gold you get from just hanging out, watching YouTube, or hanging out on Twitter, or hanging out on Telegram and listening to people, because they all have these voice chats, which are basically like party lines. Back in the day, they used to have party lines where you pick up the phone and you use the operator and you could hear everyone in the block or everyone in the building. And that's basically what it is. It's chaos, it's noise. But there are several Telegram voice chats going on and Twitter voice chats going on 24 hours a day, where people are talking about stuff just like I'm rambling on right now, where they're going over, well, what do you think about this? And this is why I think this. So yeah, I'm thinking that in the next few weeks, we could see a very, very healthy pump to Hex, especially as people understand what Hex is and the fact that they get a copy coming up with Pulsechain. I don't know. Do you want to add to that, Brian? You're unmuted, so I thought you were gonna ask a question or sing us a song.
Well, I won't sing you a song, Max, but I do want to express to you just how much I appreciate your voice in the Hex community. You're sensible, knowledgeable. You're a calming influence, and yeah, thank you for what you're doing.
I hope so. I hope so. Close family and friends have told me I'm like chloroform. I just I put them to sleep when I ramble. Of course, they listen to me talk about this stuff all day long, so I can't really blame them, but I appreciate that. I really am trying to bridge that gap between the people that are brand new in the space and the people like me that have been obsessing over crypto for years. And, you know, we forget what it was like in the beginning to learn what a
Right.
blockchain was, what a
Right.
validator was, what was the difference between one coin versus another, what coin was more likely going to steal your money and disappear than another. So
Yeah,
I
and what you were
appreciate that one.
saying about the voice chats, going into Telegram and listening to the voice chats, everything that you said was accurate. It's a party, but there are some really brilliant minds
Yeah.
that pop in there, and just guys start, you know, a little bromance in there. Guy could be from Ireland, a guy could be from England, and they're talking really interesting things, and you do pick up on things. So if you invest in Hex and then become really interested in your finance, right? Like taking this seriously, then you start to learn. And as you were saying, right, the little winks, the little nods. Like I
Yeah.
listened to everything that Richard has said to do. And
Mhm.
just like you said, I just cannot believe what's happened to me in the last year. And
Yeah.
then we had Pulse, and then we had PulseX, and then last week we heard about Hedron, and I just realized what this free claim on Hedron could mean to me. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like, like we're just in the best place, it seems, at the best time. It's such a critical time in history.
It really is. And in my humble opinion, and the opinion of a lot of people I talk to, you can invest as little as $1,000
Yep.
this year, and in 5 years you will most likely have millions of dollars. Not only will you most likely have millions of dollars, but there are a lot of places where you can easily get 5 to 10 to 40% interest or APY on that money. So imagine, and it sounds too good to be true, and it blows people's minds. It might even scare them. But honestly, in my humble opinion and the opinion of the people I hang out with who are also crazy, you can put $1,000 in this year and in 5 years be receiving an interest payment of 50,000 or more dollars a year in perpetuity, like
Yeah.
as long as this stuff runs. And I mean, technology changes and gets better, but it doesn't go away. Like, people didn't forget how to make fire, forget the usefulness of a wheel. They just made them better and put them to better use. And so there's so many crazy things that people right now are trying to build on top of Hex and Pulse, that if they pull these things off, it's going to be insane. Some of the things that people are trying to do. For instance, I'm trying really hard to get awesome gentleman by the name of Crypto Kool-Aid onto my tech talk on Sunday. I'm still waiting to hear back from him. But basically, I've been doing this tech talk on my YouTube channel on usually I try to do it on Sundays if I can. And he's talking about the NFTs. NFTs have kind of broken into the mainstream, and a lot of people are talking about them, especially in regards to art, pictures and music and things like that as collectibles. But there are people like Hedron that are using these NFTs to make a stake transferable, where right now you really can't transfer a stake, because if I set up a stake on Hex and I know the 12 magical words, and I sell it to someone, like, they always have that risk of me going in and having access to that money.
Right.
Where if you wrap it in an NFT, I still don't see those 12 magical words. They go with it in a jar or a wrapper. And then the next person can either unwrap it and see those words, or they can continue to pass that on. And instead of waiting 15 years to realize the gains or the profit of my stakes, I may be able to sell that at a discount to the next guy that maybe he's got time to wait for it, but I don't. There's so many incredible things. So like I said, Sunday, if I get a hold of Crypto Kool-Aid, who is a genius, like a genius. You know, oh my gosh, hey, this is serendipitous right here. This is sweet. So I just got a text from, Crypto Kool-Aid just said I'm in. So I just got confirmation while we're on the air that Crypto Kool-Aid, Rags to Riches, and David Feeder, who is, these guys are, they make me look like an idiot. They're so much smarter than me, but we're going to be chatting with them on Sunday on my YouTube channel. So I would definitely tell you guys, if you can make that, or, you know, mark it on watch a replay. We're going to be talking about stuff like this next level. And it's incredibly confusing, but it kind of gives you osmosis, where after you hear things long enough, you know, FOMO, fear of missing out, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, or wallets and stuff, you start to put these words together. And wow. Yeah, so that going forward, I'm incredibly excited about that. Brett, can you hear us? This is really good donut my son just brought me.
Fried
That's
Oreo.
nice.
Oh, it's a deep fried Oreo. I'll be passing out in a diabetic coma on stream here, guys. Holy cow. Oh, that's really good. Brett always has really good questions. I'm waiting for Brett to pipe up with a really good question for us.
Well, while he's thinking about it, was it Alex who conceived of wrapping the stakes in the NFTs?
No, I think he was the one that coded it, though. They've been talking about wrapping stakes in NFTs for a while. This shirt's going to be white, by the way. Now you guys know I don't own any white shirts because they don't stay white after I eat with them on. No, people had talked about using NFTs to create super stakes, you know, like people pulling all their hex together to get a better return and a better interest rate for a while, and talked about using them to transfer stakes or sell stakes or move stakes. Because one thing that one reason we take security so seriously in Hex is because those 12 words, you're married to those 12 words for 15 years. If you set a 15-year stake, you're trying to protect. Donuts are awesome. You're trying to protect anything deep fried, really. You're trying to protect those 12 words, and you're trying to keep everyone out of your account for 15 years. Where if you thought that one of your accounts was compromised and it was wrapped in an NFT, now you can move it to a new account.
Really?
Yeah, if you wrap it in an NFT, you can move it to a new account, and that way, hopefully, you can keep it safe or move it before someone gets to it or hacks it. That's something I'm really excited about with that. I'd like to welcome Robert, and let's see, Lynn, did you have any other questions? You're still unmuted, by the way. Not that you're making any noise, but usually when I see someone go unmuted, I think, all right, here comes a crazy question. That's why I'm waiting for Brett to speak up too.
I just want to say how much I appreciate the Hexagon community. It is truly global and really smart people. I've learned more about crypto watching Hexagon YouTubers than in the last 6 months than I have since 2017. These guys have been around the block, and they have a lot of experience. So the education that I'm getting watching YouTube is top-notch.
Yeah, there's a lot of hexagons that have been around for up to a decade in this space, or in computers science and things like that. It's hard to find someone who's been around for a decade because, you know, Bitcoin's only like 11 or 12 years old, right? In fact, Lynn, I don't know why I'm making this up. Lynn, I'm sure you know the birthday of Bitcoin, and I'm sure you know the birthday of the white paper. So the white paper is Halloween, right? because we went up and met with the Bitcoin group for their celebration on Halloween, right?
Yep.
Yep. And then, so what do they consider the birthday of Bitcoin? Is that just the first transaction?
I'm not sure.
What's that?
I'm not sure. White paper.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, so
I can't
what?
remember what's Pizza Day. I can't remember that one either.
Well, a lot of people celebrate Pizza Day on the white paper day on Halloween, but either way, I was just going to say, yeah, but like people like me, I consider myself very, very early in crypto, and I've been around it for like 8 years, give or take. So, I mean, a lot of people like myself, we've made a lot of mistakes, we've lost a lot of money, and we've experienced a lot of stuff. And the Hexagon community is one of the very best I've seen at being willing to share that 8 years of experience and trying to simplify it and teach it as simply as possible, so you can actually, capitalize off years and years of experience just by hanging out with the Hexagons and listening to them. So not to toot my own horn, but the Hexagon community, I'm really proud of them. And every time I turn around, they're doing crazy stuff like sponsoring a NASCAR, or putting on a new event, or coming up with a new way to teach and outreach to more people, and including, the founder himself, Richard Hart's always, I don't think he sleeps. He just thinks about trying to figure out ways to make the community bigger and better and reach more people. So yeah, I totally agree with that. Anyone else here got anything they want to add or ask?
I have a question, sir. So
Yes.
I have a friend, I think he's got 50,000 hex liquid. And then he asked me, I should stake that. And then now with Hedron in the mix. So in listening to the Hedron chat, like they're all saying, yeah, I'm staking everything 5555. So what would you be considering? Like, what should he be considering in terms of staking that, and for how long with the Hedron thing happening?
Well, I see the Hedron as a beautiful byproduct. I don't think I'll be doing much for Hedron besides claiming my Hedron in the beginning, because I think it's a derivative of the T share price, or sorry, the B share price. So a B share is 1 billion shares.
Right.
And so you get 1 Hedron token for every day that you have 1 billion shares. And right now a B share is like $4 or $5 in US dollars. If you bought $4 or $5 worth of Hex and staked it, you'd have 1 B share. So every day you would have 1 Hedron for every B share. Okay. So there's that. So because there's going to be this insane powdered sugar looks good on me every day, there's going to be this huge influx, this huge supply of Hedron that's going to hit the market. And there are some use cases for it in the future, and there's some burning functions that are going to decrease the supply over time. But it could take a couple of years easily before Hedron starts to create, like, actually become a significant amount of value per token, because these guys were talking about, we have no idea how low the Hedron price is going to go in the beginning. Like I said, it's got to find that bottom, it's got to find that belly, and Hedrons could be in the depths of the sea, just because, a lot of people have to learn about it, a lot of people have to use it. And, think about how few people know about Hex. And then there's going to be an even smaller subset that knows about Hedron off the bat. So it's going to take a while for people to figure out what it's useful for. It's going to have to prove itself to Hexagons before they wrap their stakes in it, right? And so to me, Hedron is at least a 5-year play before you're going to want to really before it's going to offer you a chance for a big payday. right? That's why I look at stuff like PulseX right now. You know, you look at PulseX, and right now I don't know what was the rate today. I think it says today what the rate is. Yeah, today the rate is $2.50, give or take. So for $2.50, you're getting 10,000 tokens. And I think that PulseX will have a lot more notoriety and a lot more use off the bat. So if I'm looking at getting a good payday in the next 2 to 5 years, I'm still looking at buying PulseX and sitting on it as long as I can to let it appreciate as high as possible, right? But a Hedron, like staking something for 15 years, doesn't make sense to everybody, even to get the Hedron at this point, because I mean, they may be older, and a 5555 stake is something that you're most likely going to leave to your grandchildren, right? Or they might want to retire before 15. Maybe they don't have any 2-year stakes. Maybe they don't have any 5-year stakes yet. Maybe they, there's a lot of advantages to having dry powder or liquid coins. So dry powder or liquid coins are coins that are not locked up in a time lock, right? So having 5,000, or you said 50,000 hex, having 50,000 hex on Pulse and 50,000 hex on Ethereum might be a really good dry powder for when Pulse and PulseX take their little dip and start to find their footing, right? So it might be more valuable to have that liquid than to have it staked just for the Hedron. And that's the way I would look at it. And I could be completely wrong.
So every situation's different, right?
Yeah, and every person's different. Sure.
So in this situation, sacrifice not a lot to Pulse.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy investment in PulseX.
Mm-hmm.
So that's taken care of. So now it's the hex. How do we maximize the hex? So it's going to be duplicated. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you could maybe in this case stake it for 1, 2, 3 years. Doesn't necessarily need it liquid. So those are the options.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think you're going to want all 6 of those coins. You're going to want some Hedron, you're going to want some PulseX, you're going to want some Pulse, and actually, you're going to have 2. If Hedron launches before Pulse launches, you're going to have 2 Hedron.
Yeah, that's what they're saying is going to happen.
So I can understand the desire to get a bunch of Hedron, but to me, like I said, Hedron is a byproduct, because staking Hex has been so helpful and powerful to help people with financial freedom so far, that if you're doing the right things already, the Hedron's going to come.
Right.
Because you want to start with the end in mind. And the end is as many shares as possible, because over time, the amount of Hex that you need to lock up for a share grows forever.
Correct. Right.
It's coded to grow forever. It never comes. It's not like, well, today I need to lock up this many Hex to get a B share, and then tomorrow less Hex. No, it's always more Hex, forever. Now the price in dollars goes up and down because the price of Hex goes up and down. But eventually it's like walking a dog to the park. Like the dog may go up and down and whatever, as it's on the leash walking around, but the dog's going to end up at the park because you're headed to the park. So as the T-share rate goes to the park, the dollar amount of the T-shares or the shares, it's going to follow, Hex is going to follow that share rate getting ratcheted up over time. And people, they don't notice it because it's so slow and quiet and deceiving. It just kind of sneaks along and ratchets and ratchets and ratchets. Every time someone ends a stake, the code looks back and sees who got the best deal. And if that person got the best deal, That's the new price. That's what it ratchets the exchange of locking up your
Brilliant.
Hex for shares. Every day it does that.
Wow.
So it's incredible. They've managed to simulate compound interest, you know, by that mechanism of things getting more expensive over time. And that's how you beat inflation, you know. I mean, you've got to make 20% on your money right now just to keep up with inflation. And how many people get 20% raises at their jobs every year?
Or 20% on their investment would be very good.
Besides Congress and the Senate, who gets these kind of windfalls and raises, right? Not the middle class, not the working man, not your skilled laborers, your plumbers, your electricians, your truck drivers, you know, people that actually provide a very valuable good and service. They're struggling because inflation of the US dollar is stealing from them every day. So in order to really find financial freedom, you've got to outpace inflation. And right now, inflation is at least 20% a year on the things that we actually buy and use: food, energy, cars. You know, it's ratcheted up really quick. And crypto is one of the only places that you're going to find the gains or the appreciation that you need to beat inflation.
One last question, sir. Do you think
I was just thinking about you.
Who, me? Someone might actually have their mic unmuted. There we go. I'm gonna mute anyone else. So go ahead. I'm just gonna go and see if people are muted. Go ahead.
do you
I got
think,
it.
Okay. Do you think we're looking at mid-March for Pulse?
I'm praying for the beginning of March. And then if that doesn't work, I'm gonna change my prayers to June. And if that doesn't work, I'll probably start crying on stream and on Zoom meeting. Like, I'll just be in a sweater, like a depressed look on my face, sipping hot chocolate. You guys be like, what do you think about this? I'm like, I don't care, whatever. That'll be my answer to everything if we don't get it by
So
June.
why March to June?
Just based on the things that have to get done for it to launch. So Richard Hart, he hasn't left a lot of Easter eggs for when it's going to launch, because even he doesn't know. And I love the fact that Richard Hart says, I don't know. A lot of people that want to be leaders and, you know, influencers or gurus, they have an answer for everything. Even if it's wrong, they just want to feel like they're the guy with all the answers. And when Richard Hart doesn't know something, he says, I don't know, or we don't know that yet. So even Richard Hart doesn't know, but based on the developers that I talk to and the people that know more about coding than I do, they're like, well, there's enough there to keep people busy for at least a month. And the Pulse X sacrifice is not going to be finished till February 25th, 27th. So they still have to tally up everyone's points from that before they can launch it. So it can't really launch before the end of February. But if they've got all the other stuff checked off by then all they have to do is finish figuring out who gets what points or what wallets they're going to send these coins and points to. Then great, we're ready to go. We're ready to rock and roll. But if they're still working on the DAO or the automatic market maker bot, which fixes the ratio, so everything is equal on both chains at launch, then it's going to take longer. Then it's going to be April, May, June, you know.
Right.
Because if there's one thing that Richard Hart wants to get it right. You know, he had a lot of his ego and his name on the line when he launched Hex. And there was a lot of haters and naysayers and detractors that were praying for Hex to fall apart. Right. And it proved him wrong. And he's going to have to prove more people wrong about Pulse, even though more people are giving him the benefit of the doubt because of the success of Hex.
Yeah,
He's still got a lot of haters and a lot of people that just they're really jealous of what he's done, and they don't like his tone and they don't like his style, and they want to see him fail because they don't want to admit that he's smarter than they are and he's a better founder than they are. So what are you going to do? That's why I believe March and June.
okay, thanks.
You
Well,
bet.
then it would still only be a year, and you OG Hexicans had to wait 2 years. So
We did well. Bitcoin Hex is what it was called in the beginning. It was supposed to take 6 months, and it was closer to 2 years.
Yeah.
By the time it launched. So we've learned patience through suffering.
That's the only way. I got to run, buddy, but thanks
All
so
right.
much.
Thanks,
Okay.
Brian. Have a
take
good
care.
one. All right. Any last call for anyone else who's got a question about anything I've covered, or you guys
Hey,
wondering
Mac.
about? Hey, Brett.
Hey, I came kind of late today. Sorry about that. But
Did you miss the donut?
Yeah, I got there just in time for the donut.
That was probably the highlight of this Zoom, is me spilling donut on myself.
I just wanted to comment, see what your thoughts were. I was reading Kathy Wood's ARK Invest, the annual report they put out. She did it's called Big Ideas, and it has a section on crypto. Talks a lot about Bitcoin, but it also says that they predict Ethereum having a market cap of 20 trillion by 2030. And that just got me super excited about Pulse, because, Ethereum is slow and it costs a lot. And if Pulse really does launch here, in March, or even like you were saying before June, man, that the energy going into that's going to be big.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. I think the other thing that Hex is an amazing product, but Pulsechain is an ecosystem. It's a entire network. So Metcalfe's law about networks, saying that the more people on a network, the more the value of the network rises, right? Everyone talks about fax machines to illustrate that point. Like, one fax machine is useless, 1,000 fax machines are very valuable, right?
Right.
So going back to that analogy, the more people that participate and use Pulsechain, the more that's a large part of what's gotten Ethereum as big as it is, because Ethereum is like the person, like the leper with the most fingers left at the table. Like, it's not good. It really isn't. It hasn't lived up to its promises or its design at all.
Well, yeah.
But
the more you
it's
use it, it's slow.
it's still the best network that we have right now. And so if Hex, so Ethereum's been around 7-8 years. If Pulsechain does just what Ethereum has done in 7 years, then you're looking at 1000x on your money, easy. Not counting the pre-sale, not counting buying the very bottom of it when it launched. Just buy it. If you got Ethereum for $1, which there's plenty of time for you to get it for $1 in the first year, you're looking at, well, sorry, it's 4,000x, not 1,000x. Yeah, it hit well over $4,000. So, and that's in 7 years. I think we can do that in half the time. Easy.
Yeah.
Because people are hurting for a network that they can use in crypto that's not going to get shut down. Like, a lot of these networks, they have bugs and they shut down, and when they shut down, you can't get your money out. You can't trade your coin for another coin. You can't use anything on that network, right? Or in the case of Ethereum, they don't go down, they just price gouge you to death. So, if we can actually, if Pulse comes out, Pulsechain network comes out and it's a really good network, it's going to suck all the value of Ethereum right into itself. So yeah, I'm super excited about Pulse. So
Thanks. I'm having all kinds of technical trouble tonight, but yeah, it's good to hear from you. Thanks for commenting.
that's okay. That's okay. Thanks for joining me. I mean, I haven't done a Zoom in weeks because I've been here or there and got some stuff going on. And we got 8 participants, but I've had a lot of people, you know, blowing up my phone, sending me requests, information, emails saying, when are you going to get back on? And I don't know, the replays of this do pretty well. I think I get a few hundred people watching the replays. So yeah. I'm glad it's out there for them. But I mean, they should be here participating, asking, because I'm sure they've heard your guys' questions and thought of one more follow-up question or something they're dying to hear about. Did you hear about the Nascar, Brett?
I didn't.
Yeah, we're the Hexkins are sponsoring a NASCAR that's going to be racing with the Hex logo all over it next month.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going down to the one in Phoenix. I'll have to look for it.
For sure. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to wrap up. If anyone's got any more questions, ask them now. Forever hold your peace. And I'm going to go grab some dinner probably.
Thanks, Max.
Thanks, Max.
Hey, you guys are more than welcome. Thank you for being here and for bringing good questions and so more people can learn. So, all right, you guys have a great night, and I'll catch you on the next Zoom.
Thank you.
Good
Thanks,
night.
guys. Night.